All right, then, let's check out this video, man. The title's caught my eye. Kazuhana, we like his videos. We like him. Do we like this? I don't know. Genshin Impact's new update is terrible. I've been hearing a lot of people have been really enjoying it, actually. I haven't played it myself yet. I'm kind of worried to go back to Genshin in a way, just because of the movement system in Wuthering Waves, and the combat's going to just make it feel a bit archaic. I don't know. People are going to be like, oh, Glazer. It's true. That's how I feel. But let's see. I am going to go back to the game. I do really like Genshin. I just want to put it out there. I know I joke around. I do really like the game. The update does look gorgeous as well, and I'm interested. But let's see what he's got to say. The update's terrible. I feel a bit of bait here.
Genshin Impact has a massive problem at the moment. If you don't know, the Netland update is actually finally here, and Genshin Impact and Hoyoverse like to release a lot of quality of life updates to the game to pretty much improve the overall user experience, whether that's from like changing a couple of the graphics around the world. And one of the changes he actually made to the Netland update was the changing of the artifact system. Now, if you don't know, currently, if I was to go...
Apparently, people are saying that the artifact system's a bit trash, though, as well. And it is, am I wrong? The new traversal mechanics that have been brought into the game are locked behind banners, aren't they? You don't just get access to that. They haven't just added a new way to get around the game for everybody. It's for particular characters. Am I right in that? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat, because that's kind of what I've been assuming, which is very typical of Hoyoverse, if that's the case, which kind of sucks. Just change the fucking system altogether. Get rid of sprint stamina. Make it easier to climb, and just make it more fun to get around the map, please.
Go into my inventory here, you can actually see all of these artifacts that I've collected over the years, and most of this has been from grinding the domains. If you don't know, domains are a place where you can collect a lot of the artifacts, and pretty much you do them over and over and over and over again until you get the right substats that you want. As you can see, like, this one is pretty bad, to be honest, still.
Where have we heard that before?
But again, you're looking for certain kind of stats in the artifacts, which can take forever and can often take months for some people just to get the perfect artifact, which again, wasn't a very good system in the first place. But Hoyoverse actually came up to a solution of this, actually not in Genshin Impact. They did it in Honkai Star Rail. So Honkai Star Rail actually had this change where you could actually send the...
Honkai was the place where Hoyo looked at all the mistakes and was like, let's apply them to that game. And then when people were like, you're going to apply them to this game as well, and then we're like, nah.
Besides a lot of the relics and turn them into new ones, but also give you the ability to change the stats on them, because we've always had strong boxes in Genshin Impact where you can pretty much, you know, keep re-rolling for artifacts, but we never had the opportunity to actually change the stats ourselves in exchange for some kind of currency or something like that. Well, in the Netland update, they finally did it and added the artifact transmuter, but there is a massive problem with this, which we're going to get into in this video.
All right.
This is
Hit me with the knowledge.
It's almost like
they're scamming us here
with how they actually presented it in the...
This is one thing I've seen. I've seen a bunch of people say, yo, the new system's a scam. So I'm interested here. I've heard people saying they like the update. I must admit, Netland looks gorgeous. It does look beautiful, but I don't think that was a thing that is a surprise. End of the day, don't get me wrong, Wuthering Waves is like a step up in graphical fidelity, but the art style of Genshin, it's beautiful. Pretty much every area in the game looks good, so that isn't a surprise.
The update, and this was actually brought to light by Ryuku, so I definitely recommend going and following him and, you know, watching his video as well. He's a very great creator, and again, he's talked about this at length and very clearly shows how angry he is about it. But in this video, I'm talking you through why this artifact system is absolutely terrible, and why it needs to be fixed, and also just give some more of my own thoughts on it. But before I get to this video, don't forget to leave a like.
We're learning things today. Like I said, I haven't played the update, so I'm interested to see.
A ton of cups and tubs. And also go over to my anime channel as well. We've got a ton of anime videos coming out on there soon. And let's get back into the video. So as I said, we got this artifact transmuter.
Oh, speaking of anybody, speaking of anime, has anybody watched the Terminator Zero anime that's just dropped? I think it came out yesterday or the day before. Recently, anyway. Still haven't yet to watch it. I really want to watch it. But yeah, let me know if you've seen it.
Which is a gadget. You can pretty much click use, and then it will pull up all of these different artifact sets, which is great. So
okay, yeah, that's cool.
You can actually select one of these. You can actually define, you know, the stats and everything, which is just great.
Yeah,
but
that's
how
good.
do you actually get these? Well, first off, you actually need a sanctifying elixir, which, yeah, is pretty much a currency that you use to, you know, get stats and stuff like that. And pretty much this needs to be at 100%, and it's kind of based off of these plus signs here. Now, if I click this one, which is 20, you actually get 30 added to the thing. You're going to be needing to add about 3 to 4 plus 20 fully maxed out artifacts, which again, first of all...
Okay. It's not looking so great now. Let's continue.
Is a big investment just for a stat. Now, obviously, after you do that, you get the sanctifying elixir, which...
Okay, so that... Oh, okay. Yeah. That's looking even worse now, actually. just for a stat. Why is it that everything in Genshin, specifically Genshin, I'm not just saying Hoyo, specifically Genshin, does everything have to be such a toil? It's like they want you work in the fields, you know? It's like with Star Rail and Zenless, they're like, hey, look at all this cool new stuff we're adding. We're trying to change things up here. Yo, you get new stuff. You get new stuff. This is kind of cool. This is actually a really good quality of life option. And then Genshin's just out here like, sir, can I come in? And they're like, no! You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell, man?
Okay, great. Then you go over to the artifact definition, say if you wanted to actually make one, and then we can go over to something like the sands here. We can choose a main stat, and then here we can actually select some minor stats. So again, we can do...
I must admit, though, this is one thing I'd like to see applied to shinies in Wuthering Waves, that we can choose a main stat and one substat. I think that'd be a really cool addition to shinies and make them actually have some like use beyond just kind of looking cool.
Crit rate, crit damage. That's usually a stat that a lot of people want to use. You click confirm, and there we go. It costs 2. It costs 2 of these. So again, you have to be putting in 8 fully maxed out artifact sets.
Oh, bro, like, it's like, yo, you're like, okay, all right, I've done it, I've got me 4, let me go get me stats. Like, no, what you need to do is go do that all again, bitch. Like, bro.
Which is kind of insane. It's a very, very heavy investment into a lot of the artifacts, especially just for a couple of substats that you want perfect. And again, it doesn't even decide the other 2 substats.
It kind of just makes it worthless, really. Not entirely, I guess, if you want to try and be a little bit more specific. But the time cost for that, it's just like, yeah, nah, you can miss me with that.
Actually go into the piece. Obviously, they could be terrible. You could get like double defense, something like that.
Making
the whole piece pretty
much. You spend that
extra
extra time to do that, you get your stats, and then it's crap anyway. So it's just like, you know, this is why I say a system like in Wuthering Waves with the shinies, it just becomes like a kind of drop rate to potentially get them. You choose the first stat, you choose the second stat, the rest of the stats are crap. It's okay, that sucks, but it isn't so bad. But then having to do that to create them, and then the potential to get the shitty stats anyway, and just have a bricked freaking artifact. It's like, why? Why am I doing this?
Useless. So again, it doesn't make sense why it costs so much and you get so little out of it. But that isn't the only thing that's terrible about this update.
But wait, there's more.
Because you may have thought that, you know, having a heavy investment wasn't that bad. Obviously, you know, some people do have a lot of artifacts, so they do just like level up a ton.
I wonder if that's the thinking, to play devil's advocate. They're thinking that most of the people that are going to be here, they're going to be doing this right now, are going to have had a lot of time investment. They're going to have a lot of stuff to apply, so it's not going to feel like it's too much of a time investment in that regards, because it's just all there waiting anyway. But even if that is the fact, again, playing devil's advocate, saying that's there where they're coming from, it's just like, just, you know, do something nice for the player base, for God's sake, bro. You've made billions off them. Just throw them a freaking bone, man.
And, you know, maybe have to spare to spend or something like this. But the other thing is that you're actually capped. It says remaining sanctifying elixir to be produced 1, time remaining in the cycle 39 days and 13 hours.
What? Wait. Hold up. So how many you can get in that space? You can get 100. So what? You can only do that. Well, basically, you're talking like, well, not a few times a year. Oh my God, dude, that's insane.
Hours. So every 40 days, this gets reset. You only get 1. And as I said, whenever I actually fill out all of this stuff as well, you know, we put this in.
You get 1. What the? This is abuse at this point. This is straight up abuse.
It costs 2. So you're gonna have to wait over 80 days to actually get one of these pieces before you can even like think about getting it, you know? 80 whole days. That is so many updates.
So it is a scam. It was the carrot and stick. This was the carrot and stick, and then when you started to follow, they turned around and they beat the shit out of you with a stick and ate the carrot right in front of your face. What the hell?
It's in such a large amount of time that it's almost like not worth doing any of this, and I don't see why anyone would do this if they even wanted to.
You might as well just farm them anyway.
because at that point you might as well just go to the domain and just farm it, because it's just easier and you're probably more likely to get the piece that you want, rather than investing a ton of plus 20 artifacts into this and then pretty much getting nothing. I mean, you could get something, you could get a really good piece, and obviously it does really give you a step up to getting better pieces and getting better substats on your artifacts. But as I said, whenever I started this video, if you look at some of the pieces I saved...
So I'll take back everything I said then in terms of playing devil's advocate. They're like, oh, hey, you've probably got a lot of stuff anyway, so you can do this. Even if you have got a lot of stuff, they're just like, well, we're not going to let you do it, though. You know, we know you've probably got a lot of stuff. That's why we're not letting you do it. Okay, now jog on.
In fact, the crit damage, crit rate one here, I could have selected both of these substats and still gotten defense and elemental mastery, which wouldn't have really helped me at all, especially if I was adding this onto a character that doesn't really take those. So again, there is still this massive chance of both of the other substats not even rolling your way, which again just sucks. And as I said, you can actually only do 2 minor affixes, all for that heavy investment and all for that waiting. So again, this is definitely an update that Genshin Impact really need to fix here, because it's terrible. Obviously,
that is like, I don't understand the thinking behind it. I'm like struggling. Obviously, when I put this video up, there's a lot of people who are like gacha people, Genshin people who are like, well, actually, this is the reason why you just don't get it, because you're a fucking Kuro shill or whatever. Explain to me how this is a good thing. Explain to me the thought process that went behind this, how this benefits anybody in any way. Like, can you buy those elixirs straight up? Is that what it's about? Can you just buy them straight up? Like, and they're like, well, that's how you benefit you. Like, well, it benefits us.
They've done it a lot better in Honkai Star Rail. You definitely get a lot more like self-modeling resin more often. They release it in events and stuff. Now, obviously, a lot of people were arguing in the comments, especially in Ryuku's video, of like, oh, you could get it in the battle pass, or you could get it in events or in the Spiral Abyss or something like that. That still doesn't take away from the fact that, this was supposed to be an easy thing to, exchange your artifacts to get better artifacts whenever you can. And some people in the...
That's why they're so stringent with it then, aren't they? Because they're this is why Genshin makes so much money. And this is why I feel bad a little bit sometimes to the people who are like hardcore Genshin players, because you'd hope that, and this is why they've been catered to like enjoy the abuse, because games like Wuthering Waves come out, and okay, you might not be a fan of it, but you want the game to do well. Of course you want the game to do well, and you want it to do the things that it's doing, because then you hope that then Genshin is going to be like, okay, we need to start doing these things now before these players decide to go over there. But Genshin just say, nah, we're going to let you get some of this, but the only way you're getting some of this is you're just going to have to pay, bro. And then, like, the defenders come out basically just glazing the company, which, don't get me wrong, I understand that these companies have to make money, and they don't really want majority of people to be free to play, but that sort of stuff really should be free to play friendly. It should. That stuff should. The game makes a crap ton of money anyway. It wasn't like they needed to nickel and dime one other thing in the game. Add a new mechanic that's more pushed towards opening your wallet. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. I didn't think it was this bad. I'd heard some people talking about it was a scam with the artifacts and that, but I just hadn't looked into it because I was waiting to play the game, and I thought I don't want to give myself some sort of like twisted bias before I get back into the game. But this is shit.
The game are so free to play that they don't even buy the battle pass. So again, there's no point in saying that, oh, you can actually get it on the battle pass, because you still have to pay for it. Like, who wants to pay for such a terrible system that, again, probably won't even work in the first place, that again will have a high chance of failing, and overall
exactly,
I just think this is a
that's the
terrible
thing
system.
as well.
Now, obviously,
that's why the system should be free to play friendly, because of the percentage and the high chance of failing anyway, which I get it, that's gacha, it's gambling, but this is like an extra step that's just not needed. It's just not needed.
Disagree with me in the comments saying that, oh, this is very balanced, but again, I think 80 days is way too long to be waiting for an artifact, especially if it's not even going to roll into the right thing. Obviously, I've been saying this again and again, saying that, you know, it's not going to roll into the right thing, because again, I have very terrible luck on this game. I do not have faith at all that it's going to roll into a good substat.
Bro, I'll fill you there with substats, man. I'm right there with you.
Especially level up into a good substat in the first place. We're in a state in Genshin Impact at the moment where the game's been out for ages, and that everyone's gotten tons of artifacts, to the point where it doesn't really matter that you're giving out good pieces. Like, it doesn't matter at all. Like, I don't really get why Hoyoverse is actually holding back on this at all.
See, these are the weird updates at Genshin that I don't get. Like, it's like we've, like, you know, the traversal, talking about the traversal, which I suppose they've tried to get, I guess them trying to monetize that in a way. But, like, for me, those systems could have been changed a long time ago and it wouldn't have affected profits in any way. But it feels like, I don't know if now, because the game's just getting a little bit long in the tooth, Hoyo understand that. You know, Genshin's time on the top spot, I guess, is limited to a degree because Hoyo are going to have new games coming out themselves. The space is adapting. It's only going to be able to stay there for so long, and it's stayed there for a really long time anyway. So I think they understand that they've made a lot of money off this game. So now I think it's just, they're at that point where they're trying to get as much as possible out of the remaining players and squeeze them as hard as possible, because that's the way it works in these sort of businesses. That's the way it works in business in general. You try and grow your company, try and expand, and then when you're getting a reduction in your consumer base, you squeeze what's left as much as possible. You know, you milk the cow as hard as possible for as long as you can until there's nothing left to get, and then you move on to the new thing, you know what I mean?
Because
it seems like that's kind of where we're here.
Multiplayer game where it gives players like way more of an advantage over another. If they can upgrade their substats so much easier, it just allows people to have more fun with the game, and it seems like they're taking away a lot of this fun, but making you invest so heavily into this and making you wait so long for it. So again, it does feel like they've kind of scammed us here.
These are the sort of things that I hate in free-to-play games. Is like, I don't mind microtransactions in free-to-play games because I understand it's a business model, and if I really enjoy the game, I am totally fine with a myriad of transactions. I hate it when games take away something from the game to sell back to it, or they create a problem and sell you the solution. That's when it sucks. If you want to sell me a billion different skins and a billion different characters that might give me benefits, and especially if it's a solo game, I don't care. There's no real pay to win really, because who are you winning against? Yourself? But yeah, these sort of systems are never really good, are they? It doesn't benefit the player at all. And I guess, like, you know, there's the argument, well, that's not what they're here to do, because I guess they're not. Well, there should be. You know, this is not like some small game that's really just trying to make as much money as possible right from the get-go. You know, they've been killing it for years. You know, it's like, you think, like I say, they'd throw some crumbs back to the community, but it just feels like they refuse to do so in Genshin. But then they do it in Star Rail. That's the mind-blowing thing. Like, it's like they almost operate as a separate entity altogether, which I know they are in development terms, but you know what I mean? Like, they're from two totally different companies altogether.
Because again, in the live stream and in a lot of the posts that they brought up, they made it out to be this like really great thing. You know, they're changing the game. Natlan's going to be a game changer for Genshin Impact, and the game's going to be so much different overall as to how it used to be, because again, a lot of people have been critical about this game, but again, I don't think that this update is, you know, reflective of that. And if anything, it's reflective of how lazy Hoyoverse are and how, you know, unwilling they are to give out free stuff, because this is another case of Hoyoverse not wanting to give out free stuff. Forget about Primogems, forget about Mora, just in-game items. Hoyoverse are very reluctant to give it to you by making you wait possibly up to 80 days and maybe even more to actually get an artifact that could be semi-decent but might not even work in the first place. So again, this is absolutely insane. And there's also a lot of people online, now this may be a little bit overdramatic from them, but saying that they're going to quit the game over this, because again, it's pretty ridiculous how they release these updates, and saying it's going to be a big update for the players and that the players are really going to enjoy this. For them to give us this absolute garbage, it's kind of insane to see. So yeah, another mess up from the Hoyoverse team over there. I really hope that they do fix it, because I have been enjoying the Natlan update. And hopefully, you know, if they just like reduce the cycle and maybe reduce the overall cost of making these, I definitely think that would be so much better, and maybe incorporate getting them into more events and stuff. Maybe they're already planning on doing that in the future, but again, this will definitely hurt the reputation of Genshin Impact, especially with the Natlan update. Obviously, because some people are coming back very critical of the game already, and if they see something like this, well, you know, it might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But let me know down in the comments what you guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. Just looking at the system itself makes me annoyed to want to go back to the game. I do want to go back to the game, but this isn't a good system at all. This is like, it's insulting almost a little bit, in my opinion.
Do you think that this is a good update, or do you think this is a bad one? I'm talking about the artifact system in particular, not the overall Natlan update, but the artifact system. Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's good? Because online I've seen a lot of varying kind of opinions on this, and yeah, I'm just really interested in what you guys think. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as I said, go over to my anime.
But there's people who genuinely think it's a good thing. I guess that some people are arguing the fact that you can choose a stat and a substat's a good thing. That's like how, like in Wuthering Waves, and you know, new system in Echo system coming out of like you can choose a main stat and a substat now, and then you've got to use the merger in the data bank, and you've got to use 4 of your maxed out echoes, which you've had to put all your mats in and all your tuners in. And then you get to do that, what, twice? What was it? How many times can you do that? and then you've got to wait 80 days, or you get to do that once. So to do it twice, you've got to wait 80. That would just be like, that'd be pointless. Be absolutely pointless.
My channel, we got a ton of new stuff coming out on there, and yeah, I will see you.
See, that was a good video, that was, man. Shout out to Kazuhana. I'm glad I watched that. I'm glad I watched that because I'd heard people talking about it and moaning about the system, but I really didn't know it was that bad. That's kind of wild, that is. Shame as well, because from what I've heard, people are quite liking Natlan itself and the update itself. Well, from the people I've heard from anyway. Again, I haven't gone back to the game. I do want to go back to it. That definitely leaves a salty taste in the mouth, that does. It's a shame as well because it really does feel like Hoyo treat Genshin or the Genshin community as like side chicks. Well, not like side chicks actually. Like Hoyo, Star Rail's a side chick. Genshin's the wife. She's got a little bit overweight, you know. All she does is nag at ya, you know. The kids are pissing you off all the time, so you're out whining and dining the side chick, and she's getting all the nice stuff. You're buying her a car. She's getting new dresses. You're taking her to hotels. You're buying her jewelry, and then you come back to your wife, who's just like, "Oh, do you think we could go out for the weekend with the kids?" And you're like, "No, I'll take you to McDonald's tonight if you want, and actually you can pay." Like, bro, man, it's a bit mean. But yeah, Genshin Impact's new update is terrible. It's not great. It's not great. A great video.